Well, we are at the home stretch of what many are calling the most important election of a generation. While the majority of the focus has been on the presidential race, there are plenty of big races down the ticket, including the race in Oklahoma for Congressional District 5. And joining us live in studio now is Congresswoman Stephanie Bice, the Republican incumbent candidate for U.S. District 5 in Oklahoma, running for a third term, facing off her Democratic challenger, Madison Horn. Good morning. Thank you so much, Congresswoman.
Thank you for having me.
I first want to talk about immigration. It's an important issue for millions of Americans, an important topic in the U.S. Senator James Lankford proposed legislation that would have helped the situation he says ultimately was killed by former President Donald Trump. Whoever wins the White House, laws will have to be written and they'll have to be done by Congress. What should those laws look like?
Well, first, let me just say that there were actually executive orders that were executed by this administration at the beginning of the term back in 2021 that impacted immigration. That's why we've seen 10 million people illegally cross into the country. Reinstituting those executive orders would actually make a difference. And we saw—
Talking about Remain in Mexico.
Remain in Mexico. There's several different policies. This app that was created, I don't think that is something that anyone really thinks is necessary. So taking a step back, going back to the policies of the last administration would really, first of all, make sure that we're securing the southern border, and then we can have a honest conversation about immigration.
I suppose in your scope, let's say those things do happen. In your scope as, working in Congress, okay, what would those laws look like? What's needed beyond an executive order?
Well, I think there are definitely some things that we could be doing. Things like looking at increasing the cap on the number of individuals that are coming here on a work visa. A lot of folks want to come here for seasonal work or to work in the service industry, or maybe they are, executives that have a PhD or working in the medical field that want to come here on a temporary basis. We're making it difficult for them. And so looking at increasing those caps, making the process a little bit less cumbersome, I think would be helpful.
Now, I do want to mention a bit of recent news and get your reaction from it. State Superintendent Ryan Walters sending a letter to Kamala Harris asking for $500 million in money to be reimbursed for illegal immigrant children who are in Oklahoma public schools. What's your take on that? Is that something that a future law might look into? And just what's your take on that?
I haven't really focused on that. What I will tell you is I don't think that the U.S. Department of Education's actually been doing the best job of taking care of students across the country. There have been numerous examples, including the U.S. Department of Ed revamping the FAFSA form and doing such a poor job on that college students looking for financial assistance couldn't actually decide on a college because the process was broken. I think there are a lot of areas of Department of Ed that need to be addressed, and I look forward to tackling those issues next Congress.
Now, we have a map of Congressional District 5 for everyone who didn't know. It did see some changes recently in 2021. The Republican supermajority in Oklahoma legislature significantly altered the district by removing a large portion of the south side of Oklahoma City. The district now includes the counties of Oklahoma, Lincoln, Potawatomi, Seminole, and parts of Canadian and Logan counties. And my question to you is, how has it been getting to know those added counties to this district?
Sure. I've actually been really fortunate. Before redistricting, I had two rural counties, the Potawatomi and Seminole areas. Now I have all of Lincoln and southern Logan County, as well as Canadian, which I don't necessarily think is rural anymore. It's more suburban Oklahoma City. But, I really appreciate the fact that I have a really vast demographic of the population to represent. I have suburban, I have urban, I have rural, and it gives me an opportunity to learn about those important issues that affect Oklahoma.
Now, you have been working in the past year on paid family leave initiative. A lot of people talk about that. Tell me a little about that.
Sure. The United States is one of 7 developed nations in the world that doesn't have a paid family leave policy. And so I've been working on trying to find ways that are business friendly but still would allow for some sort of paid family leave for parents, either giving birth or adopting a child. And we've even seen some work on the state level, whether it's through the State Department of Education offering teachers the ability to take maternity leave paid, or through the state offering state employees that benefit. I think it's time for Congress to come together and try to find ways to address it.
Now, something that you've recently proposed that we've seen here in Oklahoma is foreign nationals buying land and causing some issues recently, Chinese foreign nationals buying farmland, and you have proposed legislation to try and combat that. Tell us a little bit about that and how would that work?
Yeah, there's some individuals I think we've seen countries that have been looking at buying farmland or buying land that is close to military installations. And it's not just here in Oklahoma, it's across the U.S. So I filed some legislation that would allow for federal agencies to do a little bit more investigation into the entities that are actually purchasing the land to determine if there's any nefarious purposes behind it. I think it's important that we protect our farmland and we protect our military assets, and that's one way of doing that.
All right, Congressman, before we go, what's your last pitch to voters? We're a few days out. It's incredible. I feel like we've been on campaign season for 10 years now.
That's right. You know, I would just say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to serve the 5th Congressional District over the last 4 years. I look forward to continuing to serve the next 2. My focus is on military, veterans, the economy, and certainly this paid family leave initiative is important to me. And so I'll continue to strive to do my best to represent Oklahoma.
Congressman, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you. And you can see his full interview on our website, okcfox.com.